called that molecule as nuclein. Okay, so Frederick F. Meissner from the nuclei of the pod cell found one compound that is the and discovered that compound and named it as nuclein. So what is that nuclein? Previously, uh, now it is called as nucleic acid, but previously it was called as nuclein. So that was a mixture of protein and phosphorus containing organic acid. Organic acids mean that is your inorganic phosphate or phosphate ion, you can say. And your nucleic acid is consisting of protein, phosphorus containing organic acid, that is your IP or PI. Okay, and combinedly that will form nucleic acid. So you all know there are two types of nucleic acid. One is your RNA and another one is your DNA. So coming to nucleic acids is of two types. First one is your RNA and second one is your DNA. So coming to the nucleotides, what is? So it's a monomeric unit of nucleic acid is called nucleotides. What is the difference between nucleotide and nucleotide sites? Nucleotides consisting of your N bases, nitrogenous bases, that is your A, T, G, C, U, and your pentose sugar, and another one is your phosphate molecule. These three compounds consisting of your nucleotides. And nucleoside, that is devoid of your phosphate group, that is your nucleoside. And nucleosides consisting of only your N base and pentose sugar. So nucleic acids are hence called polynucleotides. Okay, so these are the monomer of nucleic acids. Okay, so in the nucleic acids, several nucleotides are there. So the nucleotides are arranged in a chain manner, and then between that two nucleotides, one bond is present, that is your phosphodiester bond. Please remember, that is your phosphodiester bond. The phosphodiester bond is present in between the two nucleotides at two adjacent nucleotides. Okay, if the two nucleotides are present in between two strands of DNA in the double-stranded DNA, that is not phosphodiester bond. Phosphodiester bond is present in a single strand in an adjacent nucleotide. In between two nucleotides of different strand, it is called, the bond present is called hydrogen bond. So three components. First one is your nitrogenous base, pentose sugar, and phosphoric acid, or that is your phosphorus containing organic acid. First one is we will go through the nitrogenous bases. So these are the if we go through the characteristics features. So this is the heterocycle molecule. Okay, planar, water insoluble. So it will come as your question, that is, if the nitrogenous bases are water soluble or not. So our answer is our nitrogenous bases are water insoluble molecule. So coming to this, two types of nitrogenous bases. Okay, in both DNA and RNA. Okay. One is your purine and pyrimidine. You must know about what is the Chargaff rule. Chargaff rule shows that, or states that, the sum of purine in a particular nucleic acid, whether it may be DNA or RNA, the sum of purine bases is equal to sum of pyrimidine. So two types of nitrogenous bases are found in both DNA and RNA. In DNA also, purine and pyrimidine bases are also there, as well as in RNA also, both purine and pyrimidine bases are there. So coming to the structures of common basic structure of purine and pyrimidine. So this one is a purine base. So this contains one benzene ring and one is a polycyclic ring, and pyrimidine only a simple ring. Okay. So you can number the purine, the carbon number, so, or while numbering the molecule. So N1 start 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and again 7 here. Okay, 8, 9. So here you will name it as from the nitrogen. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So you after drawing the this pyrimidine bases or benzene ring, you can give the alternate double bond. Okay. So this is the purine, this is the pyrimidine. Okay. So the purine, that is your adenine and guanine are the purine, and rest CT, cytosine and thymine is the pyrimidine. So according to Chargaff rule, sum of pyrimidine bases is equal to sum of pyrimidine. So adenine and guanine. So hence according to Chargaff rule, A plus G is equal to C plus T, or A plus G by C plus T is equal to 1. That is the unity. So adenine is the 6 amino purine. Okay. So in the adenine, in the 6 carbon or 6 carbon, there is a amino group is there. In the guanine, it is 6 oxy 2 amino purine. Okay. So in the 6 carbon, this is the oxygen group is there, oxygen molecule is there, oxygen atom is there, and in two position amino group is there. Okay. In the both purine and pyrimidine, amino group is there, functional group is the amino group. So coming to the structure of purine, that is your adenine and guanine. Here in case of adenine, in the 6th position amino group is there, and here 6 oxy means in the 6 carbon oxygen is there, and that is the guanine, and the 6 oxy in the 6 carbon oxygen group is there, and 2 amino purine. In the number 2 carbon, the NH2, that is the amino group is there. So this is the basic structure of purine, that is adenine and guanine. Next, so coming to the structure of or basic structure of pyrimidine. So pyrimidine are thymine, cytosine, and uracil. In case of RNA, in place of thymine, uracil is there. So uracil and thymine both are, and cytosine are pyrimidine. So coming to the structure, okay, first one is your cytosine. Here 5-methyl. Okay, so what 5-methyl 2,4-dioxypyrimidine in case of DNA, and in case of RNA, that is your uracil 2,4-dioxypyrimidine in case of RNA. Thymine is thymine is the 5-methyl 2,4-dioxypyrimidine. So this is the 5 number carbon. This is the methyl group, and 2 and 4 dioxy. This is the dioxypyrimidine, that is your thymine, and here is the uracil, and this is the structure of cytosine. Okay, so thymine is the 5-methyl 2,4-dioxypyrimidine. Then cytosine is the 2-oxy-4-amino pyrimidine. If you remember this name, you can draw the structure. Okay, so thymine is the 5-oxy-2,4-dioxypyrimidine, and cytosine is the 2-oxy-4-amino pyrimidine. Uracil is the 2,4-dioxypyrimidine. So no amino group is there in the uracil. Okay, this is the basic structure of pyrimidine. This is the thymine, cytosine, and uracil. Next, coming to the in the nucleotides, what are there? First, this is the nitrogenous base. Then coming to the sugar. Okay. So what kind of sugar is there? Two types of sugar, that is your pentose sugar is there. One is your ribose sugar, and another one is your deoxyribose. Okay. So in case of RNA, in the sugar molecule, 2' hydroxyl group is there, hence it is called only ribose sugar. In the DNA, 2' OH group is not there. That's why it is called deoxyribose sugar. So only ribose sugar is found in all pentose sugar are the sugar present in the ribose sugar, but in case of RNA, it is the only single ribose, that is the oxygenated, and here it is the deoxyribose, devoid of hydroxyl group. OH group is absent in the 2' carbon. Okay. So ribose found in RNA, and this is the ribonucleic acid, and deoxyribose, that is the DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. So why this is called deoxyribose nucleic acid? Because OH group of ribose is replaced by hydrogen. So OH group of ribose, if OH group is there, 2' OH group is there in the sugar, then it will be called only ribose. If the OH group is 2' OH group is replaced by hydrogen, then it is called deoxyribose, that is found in DNA. So coming to this is the form of beta D ribose. D stands for dextro. D stands for dextrorotate. And L stands for LIVO. If the plane polarized light, we pass plane polarized light through this molecule, it will deflect the right to the right side, then it will be called D form, that is dextro form. If the plane polarized light is deflected by the molecule to the left side, then it will be called LIVO. So here, in case of whatever maybe the DNA or RNA, it is the dextro form is there. Dextro form of sugar molecule is there. So both are pentose sugar, but only difference is that this one is a 2' carbon. So here is the OH group is there. This is replaced by hydrogen in case of beta D deoxyribose. Okay, this is the common structure of ribose. Ribose, only single ribose, and deoxyribose. Okay, then coming to you, this is the sugar molecule. First, we have discussed about the nucleotides. Whatever the DNA or RNA, what is the difference between nucleotides present, and now coming to the nucleosides. So, as you know, the nucleosides is devoid of phosphate group. It is the combination of one sugar, pentose sugar, and nitrogenous bases that will form nucleosides, and the bond is the glycosidic bond. Okay, so this one is your N base, nitrogenous base, whatever maybe. This is your generally purine base, whatever maybe it is. N base maybe A, T, G, C, U. These are the N base. Whatever maybe here it is the one purine. So this one nitrogenous bases and your sugar molecule, the bond present between is called beta glycosidic bond. So just remember the bond present between, in case of nucleoside or nucleotide, is the beta or simply glycosidic bond is there. The linkage between your nitrogenous base and pentose sugar is the glycosidic bond. Okay. So now here also one molecule is nitrogen base. This is a type of nitrogenous base. This is another type of nitrogenous base. So this is the glycosidic bond is the bond present between N base in both case and sugar molecule, which is the beta glycosidic linkage. So next coming to phosphate group. In phosphate group, here nucleoside is devoid of the phosphate group, that is the inorganic phosphate or inorganic phosphate containing inorganic acid is absent in case of. So phosphate inorganic phosphate is absent in case of your nucleoside, and in case of nucleotide, you have all three molecules, that is N base, ribose sugar, that is the pentose sugar, and inorganic phosphate also there. So next coming to the phosphate, which is only present in your nucleotide. So here this is a basic structure of nucleotide. This is the N base. This is the your pentose sugar. This is ribose sugar. Here it is the 2' carbon is the 2' hydroxyl group there. That's why it is here. It is in case of RNA. So this is the phosphate molecule. Okay. So nucleotides are required for other important functions within the cell. For example, if the A is there, adenine is there, that will be the ATP. If the C is there, that will be the nitrogenous base. If the nitrogenous base is the C, then it will be CTP. If the nitrogenous base will be G, then it will be GTP. If the nitrogenous base is the thiamine, then it will be the TTP. So what is the basic structure function of the nucleotides in the cell? The first is your formation of energy currency, ATP, GTP. So the energy produced by ATP as well as GTP is the same. Both are produce equivalent amount of energy. But mostly our ATP is used in the several energy producing states. For example, in your mitochondria, oxidative phosphorylation ATP also produced. In the chloroplast, that is your photophosphorylation ATP also produced. NADPH is calculated as the in the form of ATP. Okay. Next, second function is XH, precursor of coenzyme. The coenzyme, what is the function of coenzyme? It will help the enzyme to catalyze the biochemical reaction. So these are the common examples of coenzymes, such as that is your NAD plus, NADP plus, coenzyme A. These are the the nucleotides act as the coenzymes in the cell. So next function is the precursor for second messenger concept. In our cell, the second messenger is there, the CAMP. C stands for cyclic AMP and C stands for cyclic GMP. So while it is secondarily produced or by the stimulus of one particular stimuli, it is produced, hence it is called cyclic or cyclic AMP, or it is the second messenger. So the concept is called second messenger concept. We will discuss the second messenger concept in a separate class. So coming to your ATP, what it is? It is the chemical link between catabolism and anabolism. So it will do catabolic reaction as well as anabolic reaction. Okay. So ATP is the energy currency of living cell. This is H. You have already know that this is the energy currency of living cell. So another one, that is the, since ATP contains adenosine triphosphate, so it contains 3 phosphate molecule, so it can give phosphate molecule to other phosphorus inorganic phosphate to other molecule. If it gives phosphate ion to other molecule, then that particular molecule will be activated. For in the case of glycolysis, from the glucose to glucose 6-phosphate. For the 6-phosphate molecule is there, that 6-phosphate molecule means in the 6 carbon of glucose, the phosphate group is there. That phosphate molecule is came from your ATP. So the breakdown of ATP, it will produce inorganic phosphate. So it can donate high energy phosphate. So ATP is a high energy phosphate. Okay. So again, next, it consists of phosphoester bond and phosphoanhydride bond. Okay. So you can see what is the phosphoanhydride bond and what is the phosphoester bond. So this is the phosphoester bond that is the present between P and O, and the bond present between, or at the force of attraction present between your oxygen to oxygen, is the phosphoanhydride bond. Okay. So this is the molecule, a particular formula NTP, that is your nucleotide triphosphate. This is the hello class chat here. Now this is the you got the phospho. What is the phosphoester bond and phosphoanhydride bond? So if the two NTPs are joined together by phosphodiester. Next, come to your polynucleotides. So polynucleotides are formed by the condensation of two or more nucleotides. What is the condensation reaction? Condensation reaction is a reaction in which water molecule is removed and it will condense. In your protein synthesis or peptide bond formation, two amino acids are joined together by your by condensation reaction by removing one water molecule. So condensation occurs between alcohol of 5' or 5' phosphate group of one molecule to the 3' OH of second nucleotide. 5' phosphate group of one nucleotide and another of 3' OH of second nucleotide. In between that, your condensation reaction is there. So by elimination, so this is the elimination of water is the condensation reaction. So by eliminating water, the phosphodiester bonds are formed. Okay. So this is the polynucleotides are formed by the condensation reaction, by the process of condensation by eliminating or removing one water molecule. So the formation of phosphodiester bond is directional. Directional means your 5' to 3' and another also 5' to 3'. The addition of nucleotide is directional. It is always in the case of in the direction of 5' to or 5' to 3'. The structure of DNA and RNA, if we go through this, we have the nitrogenous base. This is the sugar molecule, and this is the phosphodiester. So two nucleotides are attached together by forming the phosphodiester. So ester bond is, you have seen there is the ester bond, okay, between P and O, and two. If we this is the ester bond, this is the ester bond. So this is the phosphodiester bond. So nucleotides, backbone consisting of phosphate sugar chain that runs the length of the polynucleotide. Okay. So by the formation of polynucleotide chain or chain elongation process, these are the phosphodiester bond is the backbone of the polynucleotide. So after base pairing, the nucleotides give the secondary structure. So what is the secondary structure? So secondary structure of DNA consists of double helix held together by hydrogen bond. In case of A and T, 2 hydrogen bond is there, and in case of G and C, in between G and C, 3 hydrogen, G triple bond. So 3 hydrogen bond is there. So if we compare, if the DNA is consisting of more GC base pair, so as compared to other, then it will be more stable. So increase in the concentration or percentage of GC base pair, this might be come as your question as an entrance question. So if the GC content is more, then DNA will be more stable compared to low GC content. If the AT concentration or content is more than GC content, then it will be less stable. So our GC content will increase the stability of DNA. Then coming to a Chargaff rule, as you have already know what is the Chargaff rule, that states that the sum of purine is equal to the sum of pyrimidine. So it is proposed by Erwin Chargaff. So first rule is that in any double stranded DNA, the number of adenine unit is equal to number of thymine, because if the in a DNA molecule 50 adenine will be there, then 50 thymine also there. Okay. The number of guanine also same compared to G and C. Okay. If the DNA double helix DNA contains 50 DNA, 50 guanine, then it will also contain 50 cytosine. Okay. The molecular ratio, that is your A to G, A to T is equal to 1, and also the molecular ratio G to C. A by T is equal to 1 or G by C is equal to 1. As the number of adenine and thymine are same, that's why the ratio of molar ratio of adenine to thymine is 1 or unity. As the content of guanine and cytosine are same, the molar ratio of guanine by cytosine also unity. So sum of purine is equal to, second is the that says that the sum of purine bases is equal to sum of pyrimidine bases. So one is most important, that is the C plus G. The percentage of C plus G not equal to is not equal to A plus T. Cannot be equal to A plus T. So it will be A plus G is equal to C plus T. Okay. So it is the basic three basic features of your Chargaff. First one is your A by T is equal to 1, G by C is equal to 1. As both A and T are same, and G by C is equal to unity, that is G is equal to C. Again, sum of purine bases is equal to sum of pyrimidine bases. And most important, that is your percentage of or concentration of C plus G is not equal to concentration of or percentage of A plus T. Okay. Now it's over. Is there any doubt?